Sports Talk 1080 The Team Orlando's Tuck and O'Neill. I'm Jerry O'Neill with Mike Tuck. You can read that down here. We're going to talk a little baseball. Over the weekend, we're doing this on Monday, the New York Mets have swept the Washington Nationals in New York and Citi Field. They're fired up. They're tied for first in the National League East. Can they run down, pass, and win the division over Washington?
I think they can win the division. Obviously, that gets them into the playoffs, but I think they're both capable of being in the playoffs. I think overall, still the Nats are the better baseball team. When you look at the hitting, I think that's where they separate each other. They're pretty even defensively, pitching, bullpens. But you look at the hitting, and the Nats are starting to get healthy right now. I think that's the difference that could help them down the stretch.
On paper, they do look better. You know, you love New York starting pitching, as deep as it is. You wonder about their closer. Washington went out and got Jonathan Papelbon. But since the All-Star break, the Mets are only 8-8. Washington is 6-10. In the last 7 games, they've only scored more than 2 runs one time. One of those wins was a 1-0 win. So they're just not playing good baseball. They really haven't. It's not like New York has run them down. It's that Washington has faded. Now, what's interesting is that New York has one of the best records in baseball at home. The Mets are 38-18, but they're 17-32 on the road. They have played 56 home games to 49 away games. You got to make those up. So if that trend continues, watch out. If they can't win on the road or at least compete better on the road, I think they're in trouble there.
Well, I think pitching travels. So I think we'll see some evening out of that over the rest of the season. Now, you have to consider, too, that Matz and Syndergaard weren't up till later in the year, and I know Matz is hurt now, but I think there's some of that you have to factor in with the Mets. It's going to come down to the wire. I mean, let's face it. I think you're looking at the Nats and the Mets and the Giants and the Cubs, all kind of in the same. You shuffle them up, and you're only going to get 2 of those teams in, and one of them has to come out of the East. So we know somebody's getting in. What I do know is I wouldn't want to have to line up to have to play Scherzer or DeGrom or Harvey in a 1-game playoff.
Yeah,
that would be tough. Now, the other teams, too, you could say the same thing. If you're talking about Lester for the Cubs or Arrieta or Bumgarner for the Giants, we saw how that played out a year ago. It's going to be crazy. Garrett Cole for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Last year, they didn't throw him. They threw Volquez. So this year they're in better shape. It's going to be very interesting, the wild card game.
Washington and New York play twice more, 2 3-game series, the last 3 of the year in Citi Field. You wonder right now whether those are going to be the deciding factor. We're Tuck and O'Neill, weekdays 3 to 6. Sports Talk 1080 The Team Orlando.